Is the IKEA PAX system worth the hype, or is it just an aesthetic hoax? I'm gonna get into all that and more on this video. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Janelle. I upload new videos every single week. I do all things makeup, beauty, fashion, lifestyle. I am a professional makeup artist, so my expertise is in makeup, but as you can see, I love all things fashion. I've got an IKEA PAX system for both my wardrobe and accessories. I also made an IKEA PAX system for my makeup, all in this small space. So I'm gonna be going over how to design it to make it the most functional and work for a small space, how to make it worth the money, tips and tricks on the inserts that you can get in it to maximize the space. I'll also be going over the delivery process, the assembly process, and safety tips and tricks. If you're interested, definitely keep watching, and I recommend you keep watching, especially if you're considering designing your own system, because when I was designing my system, I watched several YouTube videos, and thank God I did, because they definitely helped me get ideas that I would have just completely bypassed had I not watched them. So hopefully this can be of help for you. Alright, so the first step when doing the IKEA PAX system is to design it.
I'm not gonna lie, it can be kind of hard to find their PAX planner on the website, so I recommend just searching PAX planner in the search bar and it'll pop right up.
IKEA has an online software that you can customize the wardrobe to fit whatever you may need it for. They have pre-made options, and then they also have options where you can design it from scratch. I opted to make my own design, that way I could maximize every inch of this wardrobe and make sure that it is 100% functional for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't go for like the aesthetic route of having like open shelves to just cutely display bags and shoes and clothes. Like, I had to utilize every square inch because I do have a very small space to work with, and I needed to make sure that all of my stuff fit in there in a way that was functional for my lifestyle, but also in a way that would be kind of visually pleasing to look at. So the cool thing about their systems is that they have customized heights and depths that you can go with. I have very short ceilings, so I had to go for the smaller size. I believe this is the 78-inch one. I'll leave the dimensions on the screen, but I went for the shorter height, but then I took advantage of the larger depth for my clothing system. That way all my clothes would be flush in the system and not sticking out. The other option they have is a 13-inch option. That's actually what I have for my makeup one. It's good to know, that way if you are working with a small space or doorways and you have to keep things like that in mind, there is an option to go for something taller and skinnier, or you can go short and skinny. It's really cool how you can customize it to fit your space perfectly. This whole outline is one unit, and then I have a outline here for another unit. So this is the largest size unit. You could add smaller units in between. They also have corner units. What I think is really cool with these systems is how versatile they are. So if I ever did want to switch out the layout, I could pull these apart super easily, move them into different rooms. Once you have your units laid out and picked out, you can then choose your inserts. I needed something to store my clothes, so I decided to do my clothes on one side and have shelves on the other side for my shoes, bags, and perfumes down below. As you're adjusting the shelves and the drawers, it'll tell you the distance between each unit as you're designing it. So what I did is I measured out my bags to make sure my bags would fit between the distance in each shelves. That way I knew exactly how many shelves to add. I also measured out my shoe boxes and figured out, okay, if this distance is, let's say, 22 inches, each shoe box is about 6 inches. I can fit X shoe boxes in that shelving space. Does that make sense? So that way I was able to maximize and capitalize on the space. I was able to make sure to leave enough space to fit all my purses and like see how many would fit all the way back into the shelf. And then same thing with shoes. I was able to make sure that I didn't give too much space for my shoes because I wanted to be able to fit as many shelves as possible to fit them in. So getting those measurements to make sure the spacing was exact to fit as many shelves as possible was really helpful. I recommend taking your time when designing the system. It literally took me, I would go on every few nights for like 2 weeks, and I would just play around with it, play around with the different units that they had, see if like the corner unit would be the most functional for my space, if like the smaller unit would be most functional. And I'm glad I took my time and did that. I ended up doing like, I think 5 designs, and then this ended up being the one that was perfect for my space. And now I'm so happy with it. Had I would have just settled for my first design, I don't think I would have been able to capitalize on like the functionality of my unit. And then I also recommend obviously watching videos like this one to get an idea, get tips on inserts and things that you wouldn't have thought of that are going to make the biggest difference so that your IKEA PAX system can be the most functional. Take your time, because it is an investment, but it is 1000% worth it if you're able to take your time and make it 100% functional for your space. Here's a huge tip. When I designed this unit for like my shoes and bag, I made sure to use the sliding shelves. That way I could take advantage of the depth of my unit since I couldn't take advantage of the height, and I'm able to stack things all the way back. But instead of having to reach in to pull it, I can just slide my shelf out, reach in, grab what I need. I did the same thing with my shoe shelf. That way I'm able to fit 2 rows of shoes and easily grab them and go. It made the system work for me versus me having to work with the system. So that's something I definitely recommend doing. I also love how all the drawers and shelves are soft touch closed. I find that so satisfying. Like I mentioned earlier, I designed 2 units, the one you see right behind me for all my clothes and accessories, and I designed a unit for my makeup. For the makeup unit, I opted to go with something with the same height but less depth because I have that on the wall of the entryway. So that's something to keep in mind when doing your layout. Keep in mind doorways, how the door's gonna open and close. Are you going to be able to easily get in and out of your space? If you have other closet doors in your room, are those gonna be able to easily open with your unit? Keep outlets in mind, windows, radiators, crown molding, floorboards in mind. You need to take all these things into consideration because the last thing you want to do is design your whole unit, have it delivered, and then you made a silly mistake forgetting about like the light in your room or something like that, and now the whole unit won't work. This unit is actually covering one of my outlets. However, it worked out because I do have 2 other outlets in the room. And then another thing I had to do with this unit is I couldn't have it take up the entire wall because I have a sconce on the other side of this unit and then my light switch. I could redo the lighting in this room, but I just knew that that would be too much for right now. So for now I have it like this, and then it's cool because if I do decide to switch the lighting, do can lights in my room and move that switch, I have space for like an extra add-on that I could add to this unit. The cool thing about slowly designing it too is that you can save it and IKEA will give you a code so that every time you log into the IKEA PAX System design software, you can just enter in that code. It'll pop up your previously saved design and then you can customize it, add things, take it away. Once you finish your design, you can go ahead and add it to your cart and it'll add all the little bits and pieces that you did to create your unit to your cart. Another cool thing about the software is that it'll tell you where to place each shelf. All the notches are on the side here. I don't know if you can see. I eventually want to get those filled because they are a bit of an eyesore, but it made it so helpful when assembling. This shelf, for example, to have it exactly where I had it set in my design, so that way all my measurements stay aligned. It'll tell me this shelf needs to be at notch 22, this shelf needs to be at notch 35, and then that way the spacing is still exact like I planned in the software design. All right, so now I'm gonna get into a quick tour of the unit. I mean, it's pretty straightforward what you can see behind me, but there are some extra stuff down here, things that I just found really helpful and that made it really functional for me and my small space. So if you're designing an IKEA PAX system for a small room, I hope that this will give you inspiration and ideas on how to capitalize and maximize on your IKEA wardrobe. As you can see, I have 2 units, one side for my clothes, one side for my shoes. Decided to keep the layout super simple, that way I could conceptualize it in my brain and make sure that I'm like maximizing the space. So I just did 2 rods on this side to hold all my clothes. When I tell you that this unit holds so much clothes, I was honestly shocked. I have 2 small closets in this room that were bursting at the seams, and now everything fits so nicely. I'm able to fit what I need in those closets and then have plenty of storage out here. One thing that I do wish I would have done for this side is I wish I would have added a shelf right here. Looks a little bit more seamless, and then that way I could also put anything else that I might want to store on that shelf, like scarves. I could do like little baskets for like tank tops or something like that. So that's something I would recommend doing, just adding another little shelf right here if you are gonna copy a similar layout. That's another cool thing about the IKEA PAX system, is that I could easily order the shelf separately and then install it after. And that's what I love about this. You can customize it once you see what's actually gonna be most functional for your space. Oh, I also added these little lights from Amazon. They are motion censored, super inexpensive. I wanna say it was like $39 for a pack of 4 or 5. I love the added touch it gives to the system. It makes it feel a little bit more boutique-y, even though I couldn't make it extremely boutique-y and aesthetic. I was shocked at how much this unit fits. Because I opted for the deeper unit, I was able to stack my shoe boxes back here and then also have a row for shoes up here. And then having the sliding shelf just makes it even more functional and easy to use. I will say, to make it more aesthetic, eventually I wanna get rid of my shoe boxes and get like the clear acrylic shoe boxes. That way I can really see all the shoes and have them cutely displayed. And then on the second shelf, I have my bags. So same thing, sliding shelf. And then for my smaller bags that don't sit upright on their own, I got this acrylic bag organizer from Amazon, and it just lines them up so that way they sit upright and still look nice on display, but I'm able to maximize the space. These are the little things that I liked because, like I said, since I didn't have room for like open shelving and to have like the cute little bag hangers on shelves, I needed a capitalized space, but I didn't want it to look messy. The little things like this I found made all the difference in my system to make it super functional, but also still look somewhat aesthetic and like organized and neat. Something that I think so many people should take advantage of to make the space functional for like accessories and all of that. I got another sliding shelf for my sunglasses, and then I figured I could add like my most worn jewelry pieces here. They do have little sunglass inserts. However, I heard that like you have to leave too big of a gap in between each shelf to fit that insert. Also, I didn't know how I would love the way it would look on the shelf. I do have this peel and stick black velour paper that I used in one of my other drawers. I'm going to show you later in this video that I do want to eventually use to line this. That way the glasses will stay in place and not slide around. That paper is also great for holding jewelry in place and allowing you to like lay it on display, and it won't move around as you're opening and closing the drawer. For now, these glasses are just kind of flying around free willy-nilly. Eventually I'll line it. But this is a section that I'm really happy, and it makes getting ready so easy because I have my glasses here, my shoes, my bags. Speaking of making the getting ready process a little bit easier, I decided to add a drawer for my fragrances, body sprays, and wallets. I opted for the glass front door because, again, I thought it was really pretty. It is more expensive than just like the regular drawers and shelves. That's why I only did one glass front. I wanted it to look aesthetic, but these were like $55 for just a drawer. But it fits so much, and I think it's totally worth it to add at least a couple drawers to your wardrobe system because you will get so much use and space out of it. So in this drawer, I have all my perfumes lined up on this side. Before, these perfumes were on like this acrylic spinning rack from Amazon, and they were falling everywhere. It was just a headache. I love having it all right here so that way when I'm getting ready, I can easily see everything. I have my body sprays here. And then this middle section I thought would be really cool to make like a grab and go for my purse. I have little travel fragrances, mints, that time of the month stuff to throw in my bag if I need it. Travel mouthwash, my wisps for my Invisalign, charger, my coin purses. And again, just keeping little things like that in mind will make you enjoy your system so much because, again, you're making it functional for you versus you trying to work around the system. I have another little container with like a hairbrush, my lip products, hand sanitizer, things like that. I also got these acrylic cases in a bunch of different sizes from Amazon. They were like 30 bucks for a pack of 62. I was able to use some for this drawer and then some more in the makeup unit that I'm going to show you in a little bit. And then over here I have small purses and wallets and shoulder bags. Again, I use that same acrylic organizer from Amazon. That way everything could be neatly laid out, and I would maximize the space in this drawer. And then stuff in the back are just a couple hats. Now this is a closed front drawer, and this was super important for my unit because I have a lot of unaesthetic running shoes that I use regularly, sandals, things that just like won't look cute on these shelves out in the open. Having a drawer like this allowed me not to like freak out by just having to look at ugly stuff all day. So in this drawer I have all of that. I have my sneakers, like again, the ones that have been used and abused, but I still wear a lot regularly. I also have some boots that don't sit upright. I was thoroughly impressed with how much this drawer fit. And if you're looking to have this unit hold shoes, I think having a drawer like this for shoes is perfect for those unaesthetic shoes that you're using regularly. Okay, now all the way down here, I do have room for another drawer. But for now, I just took advantage of it. And because, again, the unit is so deep, I just have my 2 rows of shoe boxes stacked in front of each other of shoes that I don't really wear that regularly. I decided to keep most of like my Uggs down here, shoes like that. So another thing to keep in mind with your unit is that you're gonna need space between the top of your unit and your ceiling because you have to design the unit on your floor and then tilt it upward. So what I did to take advantage of the space on top of there is I just added some extra shoe boxes up here. I'm able to fit about 2 rows, and then I could also probably stack like some more. This is not aesthetic at all. Like I got this broken box here. But again, eventually I want to get the acrylic shoe organizers to make it prettier, but for now I just love how I'm able to fit everything. You have no idea, before I had like boxes falling over everywhere. It was just like too much. I love how this unit holds everything in place. So I know I keep saying this, but even though this might not be the most aesthetically pleasing IKEA PAX Systems tour, this is just like a very realistic and functional one for me, and it has truly changed my life and just helped me so much with storing all the stuff that I have. I've also seen people add little baskets up there to store like scarves, belts, and other accessories. All right, so now I'm gonna quickly touch base on my makeup unit. That one's super simple and straightforward, but I'm gonna give some tips on what I did to design that and how to make that super functional for me as well. As you can can see here on the wall adjacent to my wardrobe system, my makeup system. I kept it super simple. It's pretty much like a makeup armoire. It's all drawers and a couple shelves. And I honestly did consider getting just like an armoire or a dresser to store my makeup. However, the problem with that is that it normally doesn't come with enough drawers. And then the drawers that they do have are super deep. And it's not like I can stack foundations on top of each other and be able to see everything. I love how these drawers are shallow but wide, so you can fit a lot. You can easily see everything, and then I can fit as many drawers as possible for the different makeup products and things that I have. One thing I did do when designing this was I kept in mind the other furniture that I have in the room. So I still had Alex drawers from my previous makeup organization system, and I wasn't just gonna get rid of those. So I kept in mind what makeup I'm gonna keep in there, how I'm going to arrange it so that way I could maximize on the space in here and not just waste what I already did have. Another thing I kept in mind when designing this is, as you can see, my makeup vanity is right next to it. And so I wanted to keep in mind, okay, the products that I'm going to be grabbing more frequently, I need within arm's reach. So I kept my foundations here, my blushes here, bronzers below that, because those are products that I knew I would probably swap out more frequently and need within arm's reach. I kept my eyeliners and extra mascaras up here because I'm not swapping those out as often. The ones I do have are already sitting at my vanity. Again, makeup products that I'm not grabbing as regularly, I kept super low or super high. I also took advantage of the space at the top and just have like extra brushes up there, extra long comb products up there since I do create a lot of videos using their stuff. And then I also took advantage of one of those sliding shelves to keep my PR makeup that I want to use. I have these acrylic bins that I did get from Amazon, and I have a bin for eyes, lips, and face. I knew that if I did have a closed drawer, I would never remember to grab stuff in there, so having at least one open shelf was super functional for me. I also didn't do any of the glass shelves for this unit because I keep things organized, but not like super organized. Like, I'm not super OCD with it, and I knew that if I was looking at something imperfectly in place, it would just drive me crazy. So I'd rather have closed drawers. That way, if it's not super neat, it's not like giving me a headache to look at. These top two drawers for hair tools. Again, products that I'm not grabbing for as much. And then in here, eye products, liners, mascaras, brow products, single shadows. Again, I utilize those acrylic organizers from Amazon. They came with a pack of 62 for $30. Another thing that I recommend doing if you're using this for makeup is to take advantage of these sliding shelves for pencils like lip liners or glosses. This is the velour paper I was telling you guys about earlier. It holds everything in place so that it's not sliding around. And then I love how I'm able to see all of my pencils so much better with it laid out like this. These are so much cheaper than the drawers, so taking advantage of these shelves really helps out a lot when it comes to maximizing space and minimizing the cost. In this drawer, I have foundations and concealers. I love how I'm able to keep all my foundations standing up, easily see everything. These acrylic organizers make it so easy. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. When designing this, I just kept in mind, okay, what makeup I need storage for, how many drawers I want to allocate to makeup, do I want a few empty drawers, how many drawers I was gonna need for each type of makeup product. Again, I kept it really simple because I just needed something to fit all my crap. I had makeup overflowing everywhere. I get sent so much stuff, and having this has just really helped me out so much mentally with being able to not have to look at clutter. As I mentioned earlier, I went for the one that's smaller in depth because, as you can see, my doorway is right here. So if this was as deep as my wardrobe unit, it would like block the entryway. So I got the skinnier unit with the same height as my wardrobe, the shorter option. I was worried that having the shallow unit wouldn't fit my makeup. It fits everything perfectly. I love the size of the drawers. I love how shallow they are, so I'm able to fit as much as possible and easily lay everything out and see it. I ended up using 8 drawers for this unit and then 2 sliding shelves. PR shelf, hair tools, eye products, lip liners and lip oils, foundations and concealers, powders and blushes, primers, bronzers, highlighters, setting sprays, and body creams, and eyeshadow palettes and face palettes at the way bottom. Honestly, I don't even need 2 drawers for hair care, so if I did want to add an extra drawer for skincare or another makeup product, I could. That's what I love about this unit, is that I'm able to continue to grow in it versus like making it exact and then outgrowing this unit in like a year. All right, I'm gonna grab me a poppy soda, then we're gonna have a seat and we're gonna chat about the delivery, the cost, and all of that. So grab a drink. I know this has been long, and we'll be back to chat it up some more. I I got my culture pop. It's been 2 hours of filming, but we need to get into the most important part, the delivery, assembly, and all of that jazz. I opted for the $79 delivery option. You could pick it up, but keep in mind, you're gonna need a very large truck or like a 3-row SUV because these units are huge. You could rent a U-Haul, but at that point, I think it's worth paying for the delivery fee, and let me tell you why. I did the $79 delivery option, and they will deliver it directly to the room that you are going to be assembling it in. All you have to do is make sure that like the pathway to bring it in is clear. I believe that included the expedited delivery as well. So I was able to get everything within a week. So helpful because keep in mind, you're ordering a bunch of different parts for these units. So a lot of things will come in separate deliveries. If I would have done like the standard delivery, it would have been delivered over the span of a month. So then as things got dropped off, I would just have boxes sitting in either my room or living room that I couldn't assemble because all the pieces aren't there. So for peace of mind, I was just like, you know what? I'm already investing in this unit. I might as well invest in the delivery and just make the process even more seamless and stress-free. I placed my order on a Saturday or Sunday night and I got everything by that Thursday. You're able to pick the delivery date as well, and then they will text you if part of your order is ready in advance, and then you could either accept the delivery on that date or you can deny it and like pick a different date. I will say the delivery slot windows are very long. So they'll be like, okay, it'll be delivered anywhere from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's like, okay, I'm not supposed to leave my house at all day. So there was one day for the first part of my delivery where I was at the gym. The guy ended up just calling me, letting me know that he was there. I let him know to leave it at my doorstep and he left it there, and it was like as simple as that. So just keep in mind, if you do step away during that delivery window, just keep your phone on hand, keep it on loud, because they will call you, and then that way you can let them know to just leave it on the doorstep if you're not able to accept the order. The second day I was home, the guys brought it into our home, and again, it just made the process a little bit easier because now you're not having to like lug all of that around. Now let's talk about the assembly. We all know IKEA, just furniture in general, can be a headache. I will say I did not assemble this unit. My husband assembled it as my birthday gift. That was all I wanted for my birthday, was for him to assemble the unit. I was like, you don't have to pay for it. Just assemble it, put it together. That's all I want for my birthday. And it was truly the best birthday gift. God bless him for taking the time to do that. It did take him all day that Saturday to assemble. He said that it wasn't hard though. He said it was just very tedious. His biggest tip when it came to assembling was to make sure that the room is completely cleared out. That way you can lay out all of the pieces very easily, see everything. And you also want to make sure the room is cleared out because again, you have to assemble all of these units on the floor and then you have to tilt it upward. You need space in the room to be able to do that. You're also going to need to make sure that you are assembling it in the room that you are going to be installing it in. As I mentioned, these units are huge. We assembled it in our living room, which has way more space, and then try to bring it up our stairs. There's no way it would even fit through my doorway. It definitely would not have made it up my stairs. So keep that in mind. Do not go through that headache. Can you imagine if you finish making everything and then you go to bring it to your room and like you can't get it through the doorway and you have to disassemble it and reassemble it? Also, I did briefly mention this earlier, but when you're selecting the height of your unit, you want to make sure that you have 8 inches, give or take.
Future Janelle here. I was mistaken. I have an 8-inch gap between my unit and my ceiling. However, you only need about 1/4 of an inch gap for it to work.
So if you have 9-foot ceilings and you want to get the 9-foot option, don't. You got to get the smaller option because then you won't have room to tilt the unit up after assembling it. It's going to scrape your ceiling. I have really small ceilings. I believe these are like 7.5 feet. So we opted for the 74 inches. I asked my husband for like his best tip when it came to assembling, and he said he would recommend, if you're doing drawers and all of that, to assemble those drawers on a separate day. That way by the time you assemble the units, your drawers are ready to go. You can just install them and it'll make it seem like way easier. So yeah, maybe try to break it up in 2 days, drawers one day, unit another day. These units are very heavy, so you are going to want to anchor them to your wall. You can get anchors from IKEA. They also have them at Home Depot. However, we have plaster walls, so we have to get special plaster anchors for them. But make sure that you are anchoring them to your wall, especially if you have kids. Like, these units are very heavy. Last thing you want to do is have them tilt over and just like hurt you or somebody. Make sure you're anchoring them to the wall.
Teacher Janelle here, and I realized I completely forgot to talk about cost. The total cost for everything was $1,000, and then after tax and the delivery, it came out to $1,200. I spent about $630, I believe, for my wardrobe unit, and my makeup unit was $400. And not gonna lie, for how much it fit and for how much functionality I was able to get out of it, I think that that price was so worth it and reasonable, especially compared to a lot of other PAX system designs that I was looking at. A lot of people tended to spend around $2,000. So I was happy to keep the costs relatively low. Granted, this is still very much an investment, but relatively low for, all the function that I was able to get out of it.
And all right, you guys, that wraps it up for this video. I really hope that this is helpful for you. Like I said, I was scouring the internet for tips on the IKEA PAX system, so I hope that this covered a lot of your questions. If you did find it helpful, give it a thumbs up. Let me know any other questions that you may have. I will answer every single comment. I always do. If there's enough questions that I feel like I didn't cover, then I will make a part 2, going more in depth on anything else that you may want to know about the system. I know I didn't go too in depth on the makeup and makeup organization, so if that's something you also want to see, let me know. Also, please come back to this video if you end up getting the IKEA PAX system. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you ended up doing to make your IKEA PAX system even better. Bye.